Okay, so the party saved somewhat from their previous stupidity, but just got done with episode 9 of I'm Standing on a Million Lives, second season. These are my thoughts on the episode. But yeah, as you open up the episode, our party is essentially dangling from this bridge, and as the chief is about to cut them, he hears a really loud cry. That's when Shindo uses some wind magic to kind of knock him back, and they all get free from there. She doesn't know the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, there's this rule that we talked about in the first, literally the first episode, that yeah, if you attack humans, you will lose experience. So she had to lose a little bit of experience in order to stop him. And that's when we all travel to the village chief's mansion, where it seems like everybody runs into each other. Frock is trying to come there to save Jesby. The soldiers are coming in with Jesby imprisoned. Our hero group is pulling in Cox because they got him tied up and they're bringing him back. The villagers are all there because they heard the cry of this monster that's really loud. So everybody's there. And so, yeah, Frock is trying to save Jesby from them. Eventually, as these soldiers and everybody are all kind of turning on Frock, his mother, and Jesby, because they're just letting this village chief just yell about how they're bringing about ruin. The reason you heard the cries is because Jesby came back and she hasn't been punished yet. And so everybody's going, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, that's right. At some point, Frock kind of spits some truth in that the fact that he's laying out this aspect that the only reason they're agreeing with this village chief is because they don't want to go on this journey of hope. Everybody is basically feeding into this idea so they can avoid that same punishment. And it seems like it rings true because everybody kind of is shocked by these words. Like, yeah, that's technically true. But yeah, as the village chief keeps pushing them, eventually all the soldiers start grabbing the mother and Frock and Jesby. And then as they're kind of being pretty strong-armed with the mother, we get a little bit of relatability happening with Tori. As he's watching this happen, he's remembering his mother and how she was always beat by these people over this money. And so he just freaks out and starts beating the crap out of everybody. And sure enough, by the end of the whole ordeal, he's down by like 2 ranks. He went from 5 rank down to 3rd rank. So they were joking about the fact that he pretty much lost all the experience that he gained while they were traveling up this cave to get to that village. They go inside and they end up running into Iris, who basically tells them that she got rid of the key, so they can't save their friends. And they're like, we need them to stop the monsters. But while they were thinking about, what they're going to do in order to get this key and set them free, that's when Yatsuya and Glinda just bust through the floor. Apparently, this genius village chief, even though he locked them inside of this room, which is surrounded by, brick and everything, the roof was wooden. It's the floor of the dining hall, so they just busted through the floor. It is kind of, like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they were stupid enough to get caught in there, but at least they were smart enough to go, oh, hey, the roof is made of wood. So we can get out this way. So yeah, basically this big, huge monster is busting over the side of the wall of this huge, massive pillar that the town is living on. This monster is huge enough that it can get up there and over the wall, and he is carrying a whole bunch of little monsters with him, goblins and everything, along with it. So as we kind of get a little bit of inner thoughts of Yatsuya later on, it is kind of pointing out the idea of, why are these monsters working together? This has never been a thing before. And how they're, kind of organized and how they're moving around. It's obvious that these monsters are being controlled by somebody. That somebody is directing what these monsters are doing, because otherwise they would never work together. That big monster would have gone over the wall, but the other monsters would have never tagged along and gone with it. There is obviously somebody here controlling things. But as they're trying to figure out a way to fling, the path they came in is blocked. They decide to use the well that Iris said that she threw this key down. And Hakozaki is the one that decides to be the one to test it out. She says, I'm going to jump down the hole, and if I hit the bottom, it might be far, but I'll die, but I'll come back, and I'll let you guys know how deep it is. So she falls down there, lets them know how deep it is, and then they create a ladder to go down in it, and they start they get the chief down there, Iris down there. They try to get more villagers, but then everybody's getting wiped out. Pretty much everybody in the village dead at this point, except for Frock, his brother, Jesby, the chief, and Iris. Everybody else seems to have seemingly gotten wiped out. But it's in Yatsuya's thought process that, what does the destroyed village mean? Is it the structures, or is it the people? So they're hoping that as long as they can get some of the villagers out there, it won't be destroyed technically. And so they basically do see that. When they finally do get free, they get out of there. They come to the base of the pillar that this town's on. They're still alive. They're still there. It's not game over. So obviously, them, saving these few people is enough that the village was not destroyed. It was cute that at some point, Iris was falling and Hakozaki, softened her fall. So the chief kind of apologized and thanked her for, helping her. So it was kind of funny because like the last two people to get out there was like Yatsuya and I think Tori. And it was funny because they had like this. This studio is trying very hard to keep this animated. I feel for them. They at least kept things moving around, but man, there was a couple shots that were just like absolutely goofy looking. But again, they're keeping it together. I'll give the studio credit. But yeah, as they're leaving, we get a cute little moment where Iris was getting all fussy because she's walked too much, and Tori comes over and gives her a piggyback ride. So now she's obsessed with Tori. They eventually see a path coming to a water well, which signifies possibly, monsters could be walking to there on a regular basis, or it could be villagers. So Yatsuya and Glinda decide to go and investigate, and they end up finding a bunch of tents. And on the other side, everybody else that's, stayed behind, there's a little conversation between a couple of them and Jesby, where Jesby does reveal that, in fact, her father was not her blood father, that she was taken in by him, thus implying that she's from somewhere else. And as you would know it, they just ran into a bunch of tents, and Jesby, of anybody in that village, looks slightly pretty, tribal Indian looking. So it's kind of obvious that she probably was from whatever group this is that has the tents. So I'm just going to go on a limb here and say that this little tent congregation, this tribe that they're finding, is probably the parents. I mean, even Iris herself looks like her outfit's very tribal as well. So it really does feel like, granted, there's a couple of the villagers that had outfits that had the more kind of traditional symbols and stuff on their outfits. But like I said, and it's kind of funny because Jesby was taken in when she was really young, and yet I guess her father made her new clothes later on that looked like that tribe. I don't know. I think that's kind of a goofy thing, that she has always had this outfit that kind of resembles her tribe that she's from, that her father kept giving her new clothes that looked similar. But it is pretty obvious that her outfit and Iris's outfit are just not really like anybody else in the village. So it's obvious that the two of them are probably from some other group. Eden, I don't know, but we'll see as the episodes go along. I got a kick out of it. Hakozaki takes any chance she can to get jabs at Yatsuya, but yeah, she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna jump down that well and I'll see how deep it is, and that'll tell us." I mean, using one sacrifice that possibly could help everybody else is good, right, Yatsuya? And it was funny because she didn't really say it like in a mean way, but still, he kind of turns and says, "Oh yeah, right, sure," and he's like, "I don't know why she asked me that personally." I'm like, dude, really? You know exactly why she turned to you and said, right? Using one person as a pawn of a sacrifice for something is good, right? It's fun stuff. I still get a kick out of this continued jabs at Yatsuya that we're doing a lot lately. But that's basically covers it. That's episode 9 of I'm Standing on a Million Lives, 2nd season. Hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. And y'all take care.